name's Tyler here at Phase 2, and we're going to be going over all the screens and interfaces on the DLS3 controller. As you can see here, this is your main menu starting screen. Biggest things that you can see here is the current level within your unit, your temperature. We have T1 and T2. You can toggle off T2, so T2 is more for redundancy. You also have your audible mute button, so if you're working on the unit through an alarm, you're able to mute it for a certain amount of time before the button comes back on. You have a manual fill and defog button here in the bottom corner. If you are running a fill, there's a stop button on the main screen if you want to stop your fill and be able to get into the unit. And then we also have the charting button, so you're able to see your level and temperature throughout a set period of time, whatever you select, and have those visual graphs right here on the screen. We also have some options if you're using the Modbus RTU. This will tell you your connections and what unit you're on. We have our cloud and remote monitoring through here and an internet connection. Our next button will be our user access, so you can click on that and be able to see your users. So we can go through users. If you have a user, clicking on that button will bring up your list of your users where you're able to select who you're going to use on the tank, if you're going to add a user or an admin, things like that. Just clicking on the home button will take you back to the main screen, or you can go to the back, which will take you into a menu. We'll go back to the home screen. Here we'll click on the internet button. So if you're on the cloud and looking for remote monitoring, this is your IoT. So that's where you can click disconnect and connect, and then same thing here with Wi-Fi. We'll also look here at the charting. In the charts, you're able to see on the top your T1 and T2, and on the bottom your level trends throughout time. You also have the options where you can do 12, 24 hours, 2 week, 1 month, and then you can select here your starting date as well, where you want to do from that time frame. Going back to the main screen, we'll start going through some of our menus. In here you have your temperature. So on the temperature screen, you can see your T1 and T2 status, so we know they're both good, where you can also set your high and low level alarms. These are simple toggle buttons, which can be toggled on and off. So you want to turn off T2, select T2, hit save, and now T2 is gone, and we'll go back to the home screen by pressing the home button. And now you can see we're only able to see T1. Some other things, you can change your units here, so if you want to look in Celsius or Fahrenheit, completely changeable. Just always make sure you're hitting save before you move on. Go back to the menu. We'll look at level. In your level, you have your start and stop fill, along with your low and high level alarms. Those will always be within 1 inch of what you set your start and stop from. Also, we have here on the far left the thermistors. Those can be toggled on and off, but the nice thing about that is we see that our tank has 9 inches of liquid, and every one that is lit up blue means there's liquid at that level in the tank. So this goes into our dual level sensing. And we know that we're between 7 and 13 inches because 13 is in the vapor phase since it's demoted as gray, and the 7 inches is blue, so we know it's in the liquid phase. So your 9 inches, that's why the DP is saying it's good. It's able to understand like, hey, I'm in the right spot, I know everything's okay. We also have here manual purge, and if you were to toggle that button on and hit save, your unit would purge every night at 11:55 p.m. You also have the ability to change the units as well between inches and centimeters. So going back to the menu, we now have our alarms page. In the alarms, this is where you can set just about any alarm that you can find in our manual. Big things including LN2 supply alarm delay, how long you want your gas bypass to go until it senses and says, hey, I don't have any liquid here yet, stop the fill, things like that. You're also able to change your gas bypass cutoff temperature, and we can do test alarms as well. So any value, there is a set range for each value, which can be found in the manual, but this is where you would go to make sure you change any of those things. Into security, this is where we can see more about your Modbus, your users. If you were going to do a firmware update, you would come into this screen. If you were going to do Wi-Fi, IoT, anything in those regards is where you would go. So in the user access screen, what we saw when we clicked on the button at first, this is where you can come in. I want to add a user, username, ID, then it will take you through setting up your password. For Wi-Fi, what we have here is you can type in your Wi-Fi network here at the top, and then be able to go through and type in your password for the unit to connect to the Wi-Fi, and which would enable you to use your IoT. And the IoT is where you can set up your remote monitoring and put in your email and phone number. That way you're able to get text messages and emails if there's any alarms, anything that happens with your unit and you're not there. Going into the settings page, this is where you can look into some information for your display, the lid functions, schedule events, and doing any calibrations. In regards to display, you're able to change your languages. Your screen time here is how long it will go until the screen goes into its screensaver mode to use less power. Here, you have date and time. You can go into set your date, set your time, depending on where you are in the world. And we also have the system info button. It's where it's going to give you all the information you need to know regarding software, display information, anything like that, especially when contacting technical service. You also can toggle on and off the touch sound. Every time I touch the device, it makes a little click noise to make sure you know that you're hitting a button, but that's easily turned on and off. And then here you can also adjust your brightness of the screen. Back into the settings, we'll look at lid functions. Lid functions, this is where you can turn your lid switch on and off, and also turn on and off the lid interlock system. Here is where you set your quick chill, manual defog, auto defog, and lid open alarm time. So these can all be changed to suit your needs. Scheduled events. Here you can set scheduled fills, check level reminders, maintenance reminders, LN2 supply reminders. It's really nice. We'll look at a scheduled fill for an example. You can enable, and hit save. You click here, and then you have your options. Calibrations. And this screen is where you can do your T1 calibration, T2 calibration, and DP calibration. If you select your T1 calibration, you can see there's a single point calibration and a double point calibration. In your single point, you would just put directly in the temperature that comes up for LN2, and then at a double point, you would use ice water as well. Here in the DP calibration, we have automatic two-way calibration. So what you'll do is do a manual dip, type this value in, select save, and the unit will go through and do its automatic calibration for you. So those are all the options on our DLS3 control. If you need anything or need to reach out, visit us at phase2ccs.com.